They call it the House of the Virgin Mary, an unassuming stone dwelling perched on the slopes of Bulbul, Meryem mountain, above the ruins of ancient Ephesus, near modern Selçuk in western Turkey. For many visitors, the place reads like a texture of overlapping histories: New Testament tradition, local Anatolian memory, Byzantine cult practice, Ottoman-era coexistence, a 19th century rediscovery, and continuous modern pilgrimage. The result is a site where archaeology, devotional life, and historical ambiguity meet. A long-standing web of tradition underpins the association. The New Testament does not name a location for Mary's death or later life, but it does place the beloved disciple, traditionally identified as John, at the foot of the cross and entrusted with Mary's care, John 19:26-27. Early Christian writers and later pious interpretation situated the Apostle John's ministry in Asia Minor. From this grew local expectations that Mary may have lived in the region under John's guardianship. Over centuries, Anatolian Christian memory preserved the notion that Mary's last years could have been spent somewhere in the Ephesus hinterland. Archaeology and material culture show a long pattern of sacred use on Bulbul Mountain. The extant stone structure and its adjacent chapel are built on remains that date to late antiquity and the Byzantine period. Excavations and architectural study reveal multiple construction phases, restorations, and liturgical fittings consistent with a shrine or small pilgrimage chapel maintained over centuries. Finds of Byzantine ceramics and Christian architectural features indicate the site's significance in the medieval period as a place of local veneration, even if they cannot provide conclusive documentary proof that Mary herself lived. They're the two strands that turn the local shrine into an internationally recognized pilgrimage destination are the visions recorded by the German Roman Catholic mystic Anne Catherine Emmerich and the 19th century investigations inspired by those visions. Emmerich's private visions, published posthumously in the early 1800s, included vivid descriptions of a small house near Ephesus. In 1881, a French priest working near Ephesus, Abbé Julien Gouillet, and later the Lazarist priest Abbé Georgius, found and identified a ruin that matched elements of Emmerich's descriptions. The identification prompted restoration work in the late 19th and early 20th centuries and drew pilgrims from across confessions. As pilgrimage grew, so did official and popular recognition. In the 20th century, the site gained particular prominence when popes and other Christian leaders visited. Pope Paul VI visited in 1967, Pope John Paul II in 1979, and Pope Benedict XVI prayed there in 2006. These papal visits reinforced the house's role as an ecumenical focal point for Marian devotion. Local Muslim communities have historically shown respect for the site as well. In many periods, Muslims and Christians alike regarded the place with reverence, which helped preserve it through Ottoman and Republican eras. Historians and archaeologists treat the House of the Virgin Mary with nuance. The strengths of the identification lie in continuous local veneration, the archaeological evidence for long-term sacred use at the location, and the way the site fits into broader patterns of pilgrimage around Ephesus, itself a major Christian center in late antiquity. The limits are equally clear. There is no contemporaneous documentary record from the 1st century explicitly placing Mary at this particular house, nor physical evidence that can identify a single historical resident as Mary of Nazareth. The connection therefore rests on a mix of ancient local tradition, later devotional amplification, and a 19th century rediscovery that channeled popular piety into modern pilgrimage. The site's meaning today is as much spiritual and cultural as it is archaeological. Pilgrims arrive to pray in a modest interior, to leave ex votos, and to walk the surrounding gardens and forested slopes. The location offers panoramic views over the plain of Ephesus and carries with it the atmosphere of layered time. The ancient ruins below, the medieval chapel remains, the 19th century restorations, and the modern pathways trodden by visitors of many faiths. For many believers, the house is a tangible locus of Mary's presence and intercession. For historians, it is an important example of how sacred memory, local practice, and rediscovery shape pilgrimage landscapes. In short, The House of the Virgin Mary at Selçuk is best understood as an enduring sacred place, formed by cumulative tradition and material continuity. It does not offer incontrovertible proof of a first-century residence, but it does preserve a continuous thread of devotion that connects early Christian memory, Byzantine cult, and modern ecumenical pilgrimage, a living monument to how place and belief can intertwine across centuries. Key points. Location: Bulbul, Meryem. Mountain: near Selçuk overlooking ancient Ephesus. Tradition: tied to the New Testament motif of the beloved disciple and local lore that places Mary under John's care in Asia Minor. Archaeology: structural and ceramic evidence for late antique and Byzantine phases and continued liturgical use. Rediscovery: 19th century identification inspired by Anne Catherine Emmerich's visions and subsequent restorations. Modern significance: ecumenical pilgrimage site visited by popes and pilgrims, respected by local Christian and Muslim communities.